Welcome, Fly Tribe, and welcome to the Painful Truth Podcast, where we will dive deep into uncomfortable topics that will help us grow as an aerial athlete. Are you ready? Let's go. From the Hollywood juice diet back in the 90s, all the way to the rice cake diet in the 2000s, none of it worked to lose fat. And gee, I wonder why. Welcome to the Painful Truth Podcast, where we dive deep into uncomfortable conversations that help us grow as a human and an aerial athlete. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you're the first to know when I drop the newest episode. And a reminder that you can win a flying fitness program if you leave a review. Make sure you screenshot the review, send it in my DMs, and I'll choose a winner at the end of the month. All right, let's go. So most people have taken a gander at a fat loss program. The Lord knows only that I've tried them all. I've taken every fat loss program there is, especially back in the day when it was kind of, a fad thing to do, a trendy thing to do. From the Hollywood juice diet from in the 90s all the way to the rice cake diet in the 2000s, I did them all. And growing up, nutrition wasn't well known. So we ate chips and drank Cokes and ate powdered donuts for breakfast. You name it, we ate it, and it didn't really matter. I want to know from you if you grew up the same way. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you guys ate the way I did, powdered donuts in breakfast, or if you were a little more health conscious and you were healthy. Let me know in the comments. So even though growing up, I loved working out and being fit and active, but I had no idea how to be healthy. There was one somewhere where all I ate was ramen soup and popcorn doused with lemon salt, thinking that I would get a flat stomach. Was I kidding myself, right? It's funny to look back now, but at the same time, I wonder how I don't have health problems. As I got older, my obsession with health only grew, and I finally took the oath, as I say, to become a vegetarian once I was around 19 years old. All through growing up, I didn't like eating meat. I always shunned away from it and only ate the sides, which were like vegetables. But I bought a bunch of books and started my journey of learning about nutrition when I took the oath of becoming vegetarian. Because I felt like I couldn't just become vegetarian for 1 month or whatever it was and then go back to eating meat. It was more ethical for me than that. The whole reason why I didn't eat meat was for ethical reasons. And I'm just more of a naturalist by nature, no pun intended. But I truly believe in eating what the earth gives us. I also stay away from eating animals, like I said, for protein, because I can't fathom eating an animal. And if I can get more protein by small earthly resources like hemp seeds and tofu and seitan and sunflower mints, which is it's all misconstrued, especially about the tofu, the soy, eating soy, being, bad for your hormones. And there's actually not one real scientific study that shows that tofu is bad for you in any way. It's just part of the propaganda that they don't want you to know about, because it is freaking easy to grow, and it does not take that much to grow. It doesn't do a lot of harm on our environment either to grow soy. But we'll leave that for another episode. But one reason why you might not be losing weight is not tracking your intake of food. Tracking your food when you are shredding fat is super important. And, I call it shredding fat because literally that's what it is. Some people call it lose fat, fat loss, whatever you want to call it. But losing fat is losing fat. If you don't know what and how much you are taking in, you have no real gauge on what's causing you to not lose fat. So tracking what you're intaking is very important. If you've already cleaned up your diet and you're still not losing weight, it may be that you're simply eating too much. In order to shed pounds, your body needs to run in a calorie deficit, meaning you need to burn more than you consume. The only real way to know if you're burning more than you're consuming is if you're tracking what you're intaking every day. And I know it's a pain in the rear end, but with that said, you got to be eating the right foods. Oftentimes there is a lack of protein, and if you just increase your protein, you will build more muscle. And when you can build more muscle, you can shred more fat. Some people have this mental block about eating and eating the amount of protein that it requires in order to have muscle and to be lean. But in fact, it really is baffling how much you do have to eat in order to be lean. And when I say lean, I mean being able to see your muscle definition and being leaned down out of fat. That's why back in the 90s when I was a kid, I thought in order to lose fat, you just had to eat less. But, boy, was I wrong. And I could never understand why I actually gained weight. It's simply because your body goes into a fight or flight mode, right? And it chooses to fight. So it will hang on to every piece of energy it has, and it causes your metabolism to decrease. And the result is like weight gain and feeling tired and feeling sluggish, and even feeling tired and sluggish doing the smallest of tasks. So in order to lose fat, you must be in a calorie deficit. So you first need to decide what your calorie intake is, what your protein intake is, and what your carb intake should be. So you want to avoid adding any extra fat during this time. And this is where most people ask, well, how much fat percent should I be eating? And I'm literally like, none. Not while you're shredding fat. If you're trying to shred fat, just ask yourself, does it make sense to eat fat when you're trying to lose fat? It really doesn't. Your proteins, and a lot of people are saying, well, you have to have fat in order to live. Well, yes, but it takes a lot of, it would take a long time for you to get to that point of being malnourished in the sense of not having enough oil. But with that being, with even that being aside, your protein has enough oil in it. Your protein sources will have enough oil in it to keep your organs healthy during a shred. So do not worry about the fact that you feel like you need to add more fat in. You don't need to add any good fats in. Fat is fat. So in order to track your progress, I always suggest MyFitnessPal, and it has a great tool to search for and to search with. And you can also scan your food, and that really makes it easy to track your food. I'll be honest, tracking your food is a pain in the arse. It's one of those things that you have to make yourself do at first. And you just have to make yourself do it in order to succeed. It's just one of those things. And at one point, you just have to make yourself. And you have to think about what you want more. And that's to be more lean, right? So just do this for a short period of time so that you'll have greater results in the future. And maybe you just want to feel lighter in the sky. Whatever your reason is to shred fat, and I want to know what your reason is. Comment below. Let me know. Comment. What's your reason why you want or need to shred fat? Is it to build muscle or lose fat? Is it to look amazing in your next performance? Is it so that you get your butt up in the air? Sometimes you just can't even invert or climb because you just have too much extra pound on you. What's your reason? Why do you need and why do you want to lose fat? I want to know in the comments. Let me know. And I have organized many fitness programs throughout the years in different shreds throughout the past. And statistically, not being able to follow the program is a massive reason for fat loss failure. In fact, did you know that 92% of people don't achieve their goals? That's only 8% people who actually follow through and accomplish their goals. And that's why we always say 90% is what you need to stay consistent in order to succeed. So as you can see, it's more common to not finish or to not complete or to not accomplish what you set out to do. Be that 8%. Be part of that 8%. And the way you do that is you push through, you persevere. That's why we have to push. If you are constantly changing techniques and programs and coaches, you have like a patchwork plan. If you show up, if you do the work, if you just follow the directions and go from point A to point B to point C, you will get there. If you stick to the program 90% of the time and you follow it A to B to C and you don't recreate the wheel, you're going to get there. It is the biggest reason people don't succeed in losing fat, simply following the plan. It's really easy to recreate the wheel, but at some point we have to leave it up to the pros to help us level up. I want to know, have you ever been guilty of changing too many things on a plan and then you just did not succeed and didn't know why? I want to know, have you changed too much on a plan before? Or maybe have you not, followed through with a plan? So give me a thumbs up if you are guilty of this. Give me a thumbs down if you are totally innocent and you have totally followed the plan to the T. The second reason for why you're not losing weight, more than likely, is under eating. So this is a really hard concept for people to understand as well, because like I said earlier, back in the day, I thought that I needed to eat less to have less fat and to weigh less. And that's another, perception deal there is weight versus fat weight. Weight on the scale versus, fat percent. So just understanding those two things, because it's not necessarily the weight on the scale that we want to lose, it's the fat that we want to take off. So under eating, not eating enough protein is usually the case. And you're talking to someone who is plant-based here. So if I can get enough protein, you can get enough protein. And if you are getting enough protein and not under eating, you may be overeating in your carbs or getting too much fat from your sources, or probably shouldn't be eating something that you're eating. But let's talk a little bit about the under eating aspect of it. And like I said earlier, it seems like you should eat less to lose fat or to lose weight or to have less weight, right? But it's so wrong. And I think, thank goodness, because I like to eat. How about you guys? In fact, when you are shredding or even muscle building or even maintaining a certain lean physique, it takes more food than I personally can usually eat. I'm always scrounging to force myself to eat more. But it's usually because I've got to eat more everything that I don't want to eat, right? More vegetables and more protein. I just want to eat the crap, right? Who's with me? Give me a thumbs up. But the amount of complex carbs that you need and the amount of protein you need will literally shock you. For instance, a good starting point for protein would be a 1-to-1 ratio. And so that would be a 1 gram of protein multiplied by your weight. So for example, if you weighed 150 pounds, you would aim for at least 150 grams of protein every day. So eating under your required calorie intake, it actually slows your metabolism down and it damages it. So this is why it's really important to stay on top of your tracking. This causes your body to store fat. It hinders it hinders your weight loss. So undereating causes the body to consume important muscle tissue and organs to fuel your body. And this is why I always talk about how your body cannibalizes itself, because your body literally will begin to look for other sources to feed itself if you're not feeding it properly. And undereating can cause a host of health issues, and it can also be the reason some people can't shed the pounds no matter how hard they try. These people may have been in a calorie deficit for way too long. So, and this is really very common. And you'll see these people who are obese and they only eat once a day. This is the reason why. They have slowed their metabolism down so bad from not eating calories. They are in such a calorie deficit that they have damaged and slowed down their metabolism. So the best thing they can do is literally just that they need to eat. They need to eat more than they even think. And it's going to be hard to do that at first. And this is a lot of people also, I hear it's really common for people to say that they're not hungry in the morning. It is just like getting used to a workout regimen or a skill or something. You have to condition your body. You have to condition your body into feeling hungry in the morning. If you're not used to not eating, then of course you're not going to be hungry. But so you have to train yourself to need and want those calories. And you do that by revving your metabolism up. You do that by eating. And you do that by eating the right foods and by eating them at the right times and by eating the right amount. So when you deprive your body of the fuel it needs to burn calories, it will begin to store food and it'll enter actually into this survival mode. So even when you exercise, your body will protect the fat that it has stored. And you may not be able to lose the weight that you want, even when you're being athletic, even when you are being physical. If you're not eating the right amount of calories and nutrients that you need, then your body will shut down into survival mode. Calories are important to weight loss, and so by that logic, if you eat fewer calories, you should lose weight, right? But there's more to it than that. So intermittent fasting and some amount of calorie restrictions can help some people lose weight and get healthy. But intermittent fasting and calorie deficit diets are not the same as undereating. And this is what people need to understand about undereating. Undereating means you're not eating enough calories to sustain your daily metabolic functions, like breathing, digestion, temperature regulation. It can literally lead to a long list of health problems and stemming from nutritional deficiencies, including malnutrition, not being able to absorb your nutrients. And, do you feel tired no matter how much you sleep? This would be a symptom. One of the earliest signs you're not eating enough is having less energy than usual, by just even thinking that you need more sleep when you know you've had enough. Our bodies break down foods, mainly carbohydrate-rich foods, and it breaks it down into glucose, and then it burns them for fuel. So you need to think about carbs are misconstrued as well. People are like, oh, I don't eat carbs. Well, that's funny because that's all I eat pretty much. So I find that interesting from people. And it's just because people do not understand the correct terminology and the correct definitions and the correct physiology of things. So we have to have carbohydrates, the correct complex carbohydrates. We can have simple carbohydrates, we just need them at certain times so that our body digests them correctly and uses the nutrients properly. So One of the side effects of not having enough fuel could be a dip in energy levels. So think of it this way: if you don't get enough nutrition, you could end up feeling tired all the time. If you undereat for like a prolonged period of time, you can develop chronic fatigue, which, with chronic fatigue, you can begin to notice that even daily. And you can notice that even within your like daily activities, like just walking around the house. That'll make you even just fatigued. Okay, so you'll know that your metabolism is super plummeted if you're at that point. And over time, you may not have any energy to even just cook a meal or engage in any kind of extracurricular hobby or activity. This is so easy to do and can happen very quickly into your shred as well. So especially since most of us have busy lives and we are working most of the day, right? This is where your meal prepping becomes a must during a shred, and is often why I see people fail in their attempt of losing fat. And I've done it a time or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 as well, okay? And because it's hard. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. It's hard to get it all together sometimes, but if we stay on top of meal prepping, we will be able to more easily track our food. You can even pre-track your food, in which it's totally suggested so that you're prepared for the next day. And I promise it's gonna really help and be like one of your best friends during a shred. The last thing you want to do during a fat shred is be wondering what you're going to be eating, and then you have to cook it when you're in a calorie deficit, and then you just got home and all you want to do is probably go to bed, right? Just eat and go to bed. This is where your free calories will come in handy too. It's my favorite free food I can most tolerate is raw broccoli, especially if it's organic. It just tastes amazing. A free food is basically like a food that's low on the glycemic index, a complex carbohydrate. So you're looking at like cauliflower, broccoli, anything basically super green, like spinach, any kind of collard green, kale, cucumbers are part of that. So let's recap on why you might not be losing fat. Tracking what you eat and drink so that you know what is causing you to gain weight or to plateau or to not lose fat. Stick to the plan. Try not to bounce back and forth from one to another program or coach or method or training. When you bounce back and forth too often, especially during the middle, you could be hindering the structure of the program, so resulting in you plateauing. Don't recreate the wheel. Try not to change things in the program. Try not to discard certain things. Try not to add certain things in. Try to follow the program to the T. Decide on a program and do it. Even if you fail and you couldn't do the program, you fell off the wagon, try it again. Don't move on to the next program. It's not the program, it's you. Okay? So don't move on to the next program. Give me a thumbs up if you agree, and give me a thumbs down if you disagree. And make sure you are not under eating. So remember, you want to eat more than you probably can. And it's going to be very easy to undereat, okay? And when we undereat, we can mess with our metabolism, causing our bodies to go into like the survival mode. When this happens, we gain weight, and it's hard to lose weight, even if you're working out consistently. There is a way to reverse your metabolism though. Stick to the plan and don't give up. It's why it's called bodybuilding. Take time to build your body the way you want. Stick to the plan and don't give up. Try not to tweak the plan too much. If you fail and fall off the wagon, don't move on to the next program. Try this program again or whatever program you're doing. Try and accomplish, try and perfect the plan. Try and follow the program. It's why it's called bodybuilding. Take the time to bodybuild and take the time to build the body that you want. All right, Fly Tribe, if you found this episode helpful, pass it along to your aerial buddy. Maybe they could use the insight on, why they're not losing fat. Go ahead and tag us on the Instagram. You can also review us, screenshot it. And if you tag us, okay, you don't even have to review us for this. Just if you tag us on Instagram, I will personally send you some aerial swag. But if you review us, I'll put you in a drawing. And at the end of the month, I will pull a name for a free flying fitness program. All right, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell because oddly and weirdly enough, this stuff helps us continue to do what we do and give you guys more content. All right, till next time, Fly Tribe, may you create the life that you have always wanted. We'll see you then.